name is Ignaczak, and I've been involved with the Watershed Council, it seems like in one way or another, since about 99 when I moved to Rochester, Michigan. I worked in the early days of watershed planning with all of the Watershed Council staff, and I did a brief stint working for the Watershed Council in about 2013, helping to launch the water towns and the water trail plans. When we first moved to Rochester in about 2000, we would do a lot of hikes along the Clinton River, and I always had thought, isn't it too bad that more people aren't using this resource? It's so beautiful, but there's nowhere to kayak. There's the hiking trails were pretty poorly managed, and always just kind of hoping that might change. And so when I came to work at the Watershed Council, we had this idea of creating water towns, of kind of like a string of communities along the river that enjoyed the river, and along with that having a water trail. And so I worked at Oakland County Planning for about 15 years on watershed issues, and we were able to get a kayak launch installed in downtown Rochester under the bridge, which was kind of a big accomplishment. I think we're the only one at that time. And I was part of kind of like early groups of people that would kind of go out and be the pioneers to try to paddle down the river. I remember one time we had a large group with Oakland and Macomb County staff and Watershed Council staff, and there was just so much woody debris everywhere that you could barely get down the river. And at one point I got kind of like pulled into a suction against a huge mass of woody debris, and I was pinned, like I couldn't get out of it on my own, and the only way that I was able to be freed was Macomb County then Sheriff Mark Hackle and a bunch of his guys came in and rescued me. So from the time I moved to Rochester in about 1999, until now, there's a huge difference in terms of the accessibility of the Clinton River and the Paint Creek and all of the resources around here. I feel like there's more appreciation for them than there was back then. I was part of the first Paddlepalooza that we ever held in Auburn Hills. The first Paddlepalooza was really exciting because nobody had done anything like that in this area before, and we had a really big turnout. And the area that we selected up in Auburn Hills was relatively clean and safe in terms of woody debris. So I think everybody had a really great experience. I remember we paddled with my kids who were young then, and they thought it was pretty cool. It's been a nice experience to live in this area and see that the things that I love about the area, which really is the connection to nature, the ability to leave my house and walk on the Paint Creek Trail or run on the trail, or go through a park and be near water. Access to waterways and parks and trails in this area has expanded over the time that I've lived here, as opposed to in some areas been neglected. And so I'm really appreciative of groups like the Clinton River Watershed Council, the Land Conservancies, the local parks and recs, the local city parks and recreation departments, for really helping to be stewards of those resources and making sure that they are accessible to the people who live here. But we saw that there was an opportunity to differentiate the Clinton River and create and market the water trail as an asset. And so we were excited not only to help create a resource, but also to just uplift what was already here and make it more accessible and make sure that more people know about it. I mean, 10 years from now, I would love to see more accessibility, continued development of access sites, continued development of opportunities to introduce people to the water trail, so making sure that people know that it exists, maybe more events like Paddlepalooza to get people out.